Hey, it's Tim, Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk, and I got a really interesting question over the weekend that I want to dive into because I think this question impacts a lot of people out there shopping for new vehicles. And as you know, I like shopping for new vehicles too, and so I like answering your guys' questions. This is perfect for me. I love this stuff. So I'm gonna summarize this email a little bit, but he basically has a 2015 Chevy High Country with a 6.2 liter V8, and he's trying to figure out what he's going to do next for a new truck. He's in between an F-50 Power Boost or a GMC 1500 Duramax or a GMC or Chevy 6.2 liter V8. So basically, swap his old truck for a new truck, or change powertrains, or change companies. His driving habits: he lives in rural Massachusetts. Drives mostly on two-lane country roads, occasionally some interstates, probably 75% to 25%. So rarely interstates. It's more like me in Western Nebraska here. I drive a lot around two-lane country roads, and occasionally I go to Denver, and that's occasionally on the highways and I-80. He uses his pickup for yard work and lumber hauling. He also needs to be able to pull a two-horse gooseneck trailer with approximately 6,000 pounds loaded, but only very rarely. And he basically uses it in emergencies if a horse got a problem, something going on. I'm assuming that's what he's talking about. He's going to load it in the trailer, go to the vet. So he says he'd like to get the better mile per gallon than my 6.2 liter. So the Duramax diesel is intriguing, but diesel fuel is more than $2 a gallon more than 87 octane here in Massachusetts. Plus DEF additive. But he says, but the Power Boost reviews don't really impress as far as mile per gallon goes. And he says, I know you spent more time with both. Which one would you choose? So let's slow this question down and break down a couple ways. First of all, as you know, I had the Power Boost a couple years ago on this channel. I drove it a lot, did a bunch of reviews on it, and I liked it, but I never bought it for fuel economy. I always bought it for the power on board and the features of the truck. I don't, in the truck world, hybrid and fuel economy for a truck, they don't go together. It doesn't get better fuel economy. Even so, the Tundra doesn't do it. The Ford Power Boost doesn't do it. You actually get the smaller displacement Ford engine gets better fuel economy than the Power Boost. So I don't put hybrid and truck together as better fuel economy. A lot of times, hybrid and truck means just better performance. And so let's get the way first. But let's stay with Chevy because everybody's kind of brand loyalty as it goes. And so didn't have any problems with your Chevy. You didn't talk about that. So stick with the same brand. And plus, easier for me to do a video on just one brand. All right, so let's start with this. So your question was, you have a 6,000 pound trailer, which we always have this one thing that we always have to make sure we can haul. We want the truck to be able to haul. You may never do it, but you got to have the truck capable of doing it. So I pulled this up. I thought, okay, what is the 2.7 liter turbo towing capacity? Because as we know with General Motors trucks right now, the full size, we have 2.7 liter turbo 4-cylinder. We have a 5.3 liter the Ecotec V8, the 6.2 liter Ecotec V8, and a 3 liter Duramax diesel. Now, in all cases, they'll tow 6,000 pounds. The 2.7 liter turbo tows 4,000 pounds, tows about 9,500 pounds, and you need to tow 6,000 pounds. So you're well within range of any engine. You don't have to worry about that. That 6,000 pound trailer should be fine with whatever truck engine you go with. And don't be afraid of the small displacement towing, especially because you can occasionally tow. You shouldn't have a problem with that. So let's move along and let's talk about what is actually fuel economy here. So let's look at what does fuel economy actually work out for these engines, because we see the advertisement online, you see the commercials, all that kind of stuff. It's all kind of garbage. So what's it really mean? So I'm on the mediachevrolet.com site, which is this is a public site. I use it as a member of the press. And we can see the EPA estimated fuel economy for each of the engines. It's broken down to 7, 5, 3, 6, 2, and 3 liter. And then it's broken down in city and in highway, two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and the MT tires, the mud terrain tires. So more off-road tires. Now you're in rural Massachusetts. So I keep want to say Maine. I don't know, rural Massachusetts. And I'm going to guess you're going to need mud terrain tires because if you're like my weather, I'm sure you get some nasty springs, some snow, that kind of stuff. And so what we're looking at is the four-wheel drive with mud terrain tires. And so you can see the differences here as you go down. Funny note is that the DFM, the Dynamic Fuel Management System, has the same fuel economy as it does on the highway. You only get the benefit of that in town when it turns off more cylinders. So I don't know. Love and hate that feature. We have the 6.2 liter. You can see the 18 for the mud terrain. 17 for 02. Again, 02, bigger, taller physics, right? You just can't get the same fuel economy. As we get down to turbo diesel, we can see 20, 26, 23. And then we have different fuel tanks, and then we have basically 22 gallons for two-wheel drive. Now, there's a couple things asterisks here. I'm gonna point out in a little bit, but let's say which one is the best for fuel economy, which one's the best for towing. So we know all of them tow pretty well. They all can tow that weight. The 2.7 is going to probably be a little faster off. It's going to feel like it's got more power. And the reason for that is you look at your torque, max torque when it hits at 3,000 RPMs, 430 foot-pounds torque at 3,000 RPMs. It's going to feel quicker than the 5.3 liter because it gets 383 foot-pounds of torque, but at 4,100 RPMs. So basically, you have to hit the gas longer in the 5.3 to get all the torque, whereas the torque comes on sooner in the 2.7. In the 6.2, we talked about this 460, but at 4,100 pounds of RPM, excuse me. And this is where I love the turbo diesel. This is why I talk about turbo diesel so much. 460 foot-pounds of torque at only 1,500 RPM. This has got a ton of offline speed, towing power. It's a very powerful engine because of that torque band being so low. So you're getting the torque really fast. Okay, so then we'll take that information and go over here. So I did a spreadsheet because I wanted to do a spreadsheet. What I thought was, okay, let's take the engines. So we have the Chevy engines here, the 4 of them. Let's talk about mile per gallon with the 4-wheel drive with the mud train tires. Okay. Then let's talk about, say, 20 gallons. So I said 22 was about the max for diesel. Other things have different. I thought, hey, 20 is a simple number for me to do the calculator on, for me to type it in. So let's just say 20 gallons. Let's say a road trip. You're going to road trip with this. 400. So how far are you going to go? So on the diesel, you get 460 miles of range. So 23 times 20. The 6.2 liter, 360. The 5.3 liter, 340. And the 2.7, 360. So you can see those numbers. So price per fuel. So what I did was I went to AAA and I pulled up Massachusetts. There's the lovely state. And I looked at current average today for regular, which in their case is 87 octane, 89 for mid-grade. Looked like 93 online when I read for premium, and then diesel. So then I put those numbers in. I put down diesel 593. Oh, what did I do here? Oh, the 6.2 liter V8 per the owner's manual and per the story wrote on pickuptrucktalk.com, it requires premium fuel, 93 octane plus. The 2022 owner's manual says a minimum 91 octane is recommended, but 87 can be used if the higher octane is not available. However, it goes on saying doing so will result in reduction in performance and drivability. So what you're looking at there is the fact that if you don't put premium fuel in the 6.2 liter V8, you don't get these higher horsepower and torque numbers, and you won't get the same fuel economy. So I think you better do the recommendation, which I'm guessing you don't do now. So I'm going to say the new 6.2, if you do the premium, try and get a little bit better fuel economy. But again, you pay for it. So we have 593, 470 for 93 octane or for the premium, 386 for 87, 386 for 87. Okay. So what's the total for 20 miles? So this times this. So I have $118 for diesel. I have $94, $77, $77 instead of 3. Now people are going to say, well, 77 is a lot better than 100, 120. My gosh, 120 is terrible. But this is where math gets funky. You have more range. So then I said, okay, well, let's just match the diesel for range. So if I said the range of diesel is 460, I'd add 100 miles of range to 6.2 liter, which means I'd put in 5.5 more gallons, which additional cost is $25.85 if I did 5.5 times 470. So my total price with the matching the 460 miles of range, the gas is actually more expensive than diesel. Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, you look at the math. I mean, you're getting better fuel economy per mile, which means you go further for, less money. In this case, I have to add more to it. So on the 5.3 liter V8, I'm looking at a difference of what, $14? It's really $14. And the 2.7 is actually the most efficient engine choice, and that's at $98. So if you want to save $20, there you go. Now I know what you're thinking. Well, this diesel requires more maintenance. Actually, that 3 liter does not. I misspoke. I did some research. It does not require that much more maintenance. It actually doesn't use as much oil as the bigger 6.6 liter Duramaxes do. And you can get some deals on the diesel fuel or diesel filters. There's also a question about DEF. Now you got to add DEF to this, right? You always got to add DEF to your price. But DEF, as we can see in different forums, really comes down to how much you're towing. So talking to these automakers, if you tow a lot, you go through DEF a lot. if you don't tow very often, you're not going to go through DEF very fast. And so in this case, this guy said he went through 3 gallons of DEF over 1,500 miles. And the reason he did that was he was towing a camper back and forth. And he loved it. He says, I was passing this vehicle, towing this massive load up the Allegheny Mountain, and he just loves it. So, but he said it's more expensive. However, 3 gallons of DEF. So if you go to Walmart, Walmart, I'm at Walmart all the time. You're looking at $10 for 2.5 gallons of diesel there. Now that's the peak Super Tech. And I'm sorry, but DEF is DEF. I don't know. I'm sure that people can argue in the comments, but I just think DEF's DEF. So you're gonna add, what do we say, $20 if you tow a lot and if you're doing that a lot. Now, the kicker there though is when you were towing with the 3-liter Duramax diesel, you're gonna get more efficient. It's much more efficient than air gas because diesel is just, like I said, lower torque, idles better, it has more power. And so pros and cons there, right? So I think, looking at your question, I would not fear getting into the 2.7-liter turbo. I think it's got the best bang for the buck for price. And considering you don't tow very often, you're going to feel like you have probably quite a bit of power behind it. And you don't have to worry about buying premium fuel, none of that stuff. Now, you didn't bring that one up. So I'm wondering if you have an issue with turbos, which has been going around for years. And this isn't the 70s. Turbos aren't the same they used to be. They're a lot more reliable than they were. The Power Boost, it's got turbos in it too. So, and the fact of the matter is, the way the automotive market going is everything's going turbos. So if you want to not go turbo, that's fine. You'll pay for it at the pump. And eventually those engines that don't have turbos will eventually get turbos. That's just the way the game's working these days. But I would go with the 2.7-liter. And I guess the other reason I do that is if you go, I'll do a different thing, but if you go to Chevrolet.com, you'll find that engine is a cheaper engine option as well. And so you can save more when you're buying it, and you get more efficiency for mile per gallon per dollar, and you're less at the pump. So that'd be my 2 cents. I love the 6.2. I love 3-liter Duramax. The 3-liter Duramax and 6.2 have some similar power output. It feels like the 3-liter diesel is just that much quicker because it lower torque band. It does tow better, but I think it probably is overkill for your needs. Put your comments down below. Let me know what you guys think. Check out the videos over here, Pickup Truck Talk as well, website that you just saw on the screen. Yeah, there you go. As always, thanks for watching. I will see you down the road.